6 of council members in the chamber already. So, Mr. Clerk, can we bring the online? Sure.
You did. Great. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. So, just for the public aware, so we'll continue our meeting after break. Now it's 11:36. Thank you so much. So next item is going to be 11.5 regarding to the Winter Carnival. So I need a mover to move this motion. Okay, Mayor D. West. Also, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor West, do you
Okay,
have one?
thank you.
speaker first?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the Winter Carnival for coming out, and most of all, thank you for all that you've done for the last many 57, 58 years. I've lost track.
57.
I've been on the Winter Carnival committee in the past. I've been supporting this carnival for quite a long time, and I do understand the challenges that are had by putting on a festival in the middle of winter. But it is worth the effort because it's a great event and well-loved event in Richmond Hill. So what I would ask is, and I know that the stage, without going into all of the details, I get that the stage is problematic, but it's also very important to the Winter Carnival. And the current state of the stage means it's a little bit less robust than we would like it to be. It's getting older. Not that any of us are getting older or anything, but it does happen sometimes. But I think what we need to do is sit down with staff and figure out a way to make this work. And it's really important because without the stage, the Winter Carnival really would lose a significant part of what makes that event so great. So what I would like to do is make a motion, essentially, just in a nutshell, to have our staff speak to the Winter Carnival folks, come up with a solution, and one way or the other, if there is additional costs within reason, obviously, that are incurred to get a heated stage, that's the important part, then we need to we would need to absorb that. But I don't think it would be a lot of money. And I actually think there are some possible solutions with the stage that we have right now, respecting the age and the state that the existing stage is in. So, Mr. Clerk, if you can just put that up on the screen. Really, this motion is to get the sit down between the parties, figure out what the solution is, and go forward with that. So anyway, that's a simple motion, I think, to solve a relatively simple problem, and hopefully we can get support for that so the Winter Carnival folks can get on with their stuff.
Okay, Councillor Silvis, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for bringing this forward, Mayor West. Yes, I definitely will support this. And just on a personal note, if there are heaters there, I can attend. I haven't been able to attend for the last couple of years because of the cold. So if the heaters are there, I can be there. So that's a big plus. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I want comment here as well. Okay, Councillor Deputy Mayor Godwin Chan, go ahead. This is for the Winter Carnival. Go ahead. Okay, so thank you so much. I just want to add comments here. So last year, I think I was there with all the council members. It was so cold, and because it was not desired and good condition of the stage, so we could not stick here longer. I remember me. So there are lots of performance on that stage as well. So it's very cold, very challenging to the last for 2 or 3 days. So I believe the mayor's motion put here. Let's find all reasonable, better solutions with staff. As Mayor mentioned, found any reasonable additional cost from city to support the carnival. So this carnival will last for 57 years already. 57 years already. I was so proud to be your local councillor. Definitely support further. Thank you so much. So all in favor for this motion? Yeah, unanimous passed. Thank you so much. So next item 11.2 for the member council expense policy review. I want to move. So Deputy Mayor, you want to move it first?
I am happy to move it for
Okay.
discussion. Yeah. actually, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, staff, for the expense policy. I think that certainly anything that would help to strengthen the fiscal framework for accountability, everything, I'm for it. There's no issue whatsoever. Just two points I want to raise. One is I wonder that for the consideration that on page 5, the usage of corporate cards and direct invoicing. And as I said, I support everything, the principle, everything in the report itself. But I just want to bring up that on one hand, it does say the last sentence there, staff recommended use of personal cards should be fully discontinued in favor of standardized corporate payment tools. In principle, it certainly makes sense. However, I should also raise based only my personal experience sometimes that for whatever reason, either the corporate card for whatever reason is not working through the transaction, or in certain places is actually not taking other forms of payment, whatever the case may be. And I'm wondering whether this could be flexible, like recommended to use their corporate card, but not like the what we said earlier, the only way to do it. I'm just looking for potential. There's a bit of flexibility because the circumstances sometimes is we cannot control it. It's the vendor at times. So that's one aspect. Looks like I didn't meant to ask a question, but just a comment. I've no issue whatsoever recommending approval, but with that caveat, if we approve it in B, recommended in B, does that mean the actual policy that come back would including the flexibility of use of non-corporate card if the under for the certain circumstances? That's number one. If the staff want to respond to it, that's fine. If not, I said my piece. Okay. Another one is on, and I appreciate that about making sure some of the expenses are eligible or not eligible and so on. And I think someone else, I don't know, like I don't have a specific comment at this point in time, but I do think that point number 6 on not eligible on page 7 has merits, which is under include events in eligible expenses. I think it merits, but need to be clarified a bit more about that. If the staff could comment on that, great. If not, I just want to raise it so staff will pay attention to it. And the other one on the travel, conference, seminars, business trips, and training, and the expense policy, I concur that it probably better to have an upper limit than versus $5 for your orange juice or something. But the maximum of 75, I think it has been some benchmarking or whatever, but look into that. I'm not suggesting any changes. The other thing, talking about caps, I would certainly in full support. There should be a cap, particular for any business or whatever other hospitality meeting. I'm all for it. So having said that, I'm happy to move their motion, but I just want to get a comfort that the points are raised, particularly about the use of non-corporate card may still be considered with this, the evidence being provided. That's the way to go about. So I submit my motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Davidson, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I that's the part I wanted to ask about too. Just even in terms of office supplies, I can get 5 coil notebooks at Costco for the price of 1 at Staples, and they don't take anything but MasterCard or a bank card. My question to staff is if we provide appropriate documentation, that is the receipt with the proper date, is it really a financial risk and reputational risk for us to have that flexibility to not, if we can't use the Visa card? Another example of that is if you go and you want to have a community event and you want to support a little bakery that is like a home business, they only take cash or they only take your bank card, but you're getting cookies for a community meeting. They don't take Visa at this little mom and pop shop. That's a problem too. Thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Davidson, staff will take that into consideration. Definitely, we are recommending and strongly encourage the corporate payments and direct invoicing. So we will reflect that in the policy write-up.
Thank you. Indirectly, that could cost taxpayers more, because if I can't go to the cheapest place to get my notebooks or my pens or whatever, it ends up costing the taxpayer more. Yeah, that is how do we come back and reconsider that by next week? Like, what can I say to ask is that an amendment, or should we talk about it this week and see how we can put it? Or do you know what I mean? I agree with everything here. I just would like the flexibility of being able to buy things where I need and Visa's not accepted. What would be the way that's an amendment to this next week? And there isn't time, right?
Through the chair to Councillor Davidson, excuse me, it's obvious, it's certainly within the committee's purview to make a formal amendment, but the motion before you already requires staff to report back. So following council next week, assuming this passes, staff are already going to report back with the changes. The treasurer has indicated they've heard the comments. It's similar, I would suggest it's similar to other motions where we've had that all comments be referred back to staff.
Right.
That's already implied clearly in this context.
Oh, okay, great. Yep, that would be, I mean, it's not something I want to use all the time, but it would be great to have that flexibility because it really can catch you in the lurch. Thank you.
Okay, anyone has any comments? Good. Okay, go ahead, Thompson. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much through the chair. Yeah, everything that's in the report, I certainly concur with. Though maybe I was wrong in the way I was reading it. I thought the flexibility was there because I didn't hear strong language that said mandatory to go this way or that, and everything was kind of, encouraged that, we try and make sure wherever possible, we're always following a certain line. So, I'm comfortable with the wording that we see right now. However, I do feel that there's more that certainly could be done. So when I originally brought the motion forward, as I mentioned previously, my intention was about loopholes and how we can, plug those loopholes that appear to be in our policies. We've seen in a number of different Integrity Commissioner reports that when there has been ineligible or non-compliant type expenditures, that they've indicated that our policies were either silent or weak in a certain way that made it difficult, and that perhaps this is how things could end up going sideways. So I've brought a few questions forward to staff already in regards to how we might be able to mitigate some of those things. And I'm a little confused on some things because I keep hearing the things that we can't do because of legislation and things like that versus the things that we can do. And I'm trying to emphasize that we need to be looking at what we can do versus what we can't do. And if I understand the Municipal Act correctly, and maybe I don't, but I thought in there it's talking about things like doing things with a voluntary signing an agreement. So as a councillor, as an example, I would be willing to sign an agreement that says that I could be personally liable for any ineligible or non-compliant things that I, might actually do as a councillor. But it seems that mechanism, even though it says that would be available, never gets used. So I guess my question, would be, is there some reason why it's there but not being utilized in any way, shape, or form? There must be some probably legal or legislative thing that speaks to that.
Certainly, in terms of under the Municipal Act, in terms of governing the conduct of council, it's primarily in terms of the Integrity Commissioner and the Council Code of Conduct. And I think you heard earlier that the member expense policy is Appendix C of the Council Code of Conduct, by which a complaint can be made to the Integrity Commissioner, investigated, and a report coming forward. In terms of as part of that, certainly one of the penalties afforded to the Integrity Commissioner on a violation under the Council Code of Conduct is a suspension of pay for that. So, but in terms of what you're describing, I don't think anyone does it in terms of, I'm not even sure how you would compel a counselor to sort of sign on any sort of personal guarantee, not to mention the fact that it generally, in terms of recovery or net recovery through the courts, just generally speaking, is not economic. And you're certainly quite right in terms of financial oversight and closing loopholes would be the sort of the most cost efficient in terms of means going forward. For example, the report you heard earlier in terms of eliminating council-led events, in terms of identified loopholes, in terms of reducing the financial liability of the municipality.
Right, I appreciate that, and I guess that's where, I kept thinking that if you went back to the previous discussion, we basically eliminated a symptom to a disease is basically about the only way I can really say it, because we didn't deal with the actual issue, which is the accountability and the liability issue. What we did was, let's eliminate the council-led events, and that takes care of something like that. But all I can say is I wouldn't be here today if we didn't keep looking for research in different things. Like, in my particular case, I'm a cancer survivor. So we should continue to be looking at how we can ensure that we plug those loopholes so that we don't find ourselves in the potential situation where the taxpayer ends up being on the hook for a transaction that a councillor made. So those are my comments. I'm going to leave it there. But that was my whole intent when I brought forward the motion back in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Davidson. Next one, our Regional Councillor Joe DiPaolo. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Now, I think unlike, the councillor events policy, where I think there was some problems, I think our member councillor expense policy is pretty good, and it looks like the report says that it's been functioning well, and it was approved before I got on council in September 12th, 2018. Was the last revision, and it's functioned well without too many problems. So though there's just some minor suggestions made, I guess this is like a council public hearing on a proposed new policy, and you're going to take the comments back. And I think it's already been said, but if you're in a business meeting you're in a restaurant with other stakeholders, and you've committed to paying for the lunch, if just in the case where if it's purchases only by credit card, only by corporate card, and I understand all the reasons for that. If there's just these corporate cards, the companies are overly cautious, and they cancel the card or deny really arbitrarily. They'll deny an intended purchase out of an abundance of caution, and it has to be rectified later. And in that case, you can't walk out of the restaurant or stiff them. You have to pull out your personal card and have it covered, and I just think that, as someone else said, it has to be some flexibility that then you can come in and claim that expense or some other mechanism where we can claim expenses in those unique situations. Otherwise, the policies, I believe, as proposed, are really good. You're going to be making the right adjustments here, I believe. Yeah, the elimination of reimbursements, I think, is generally a good thing. I think it's a good way forward. There isn't much else that's recommended to be changed. There's not a lot of changes recommended. Yeah, making the conference budget staying the same, but just you're going to have a per day expense instead of per meal, which makes sense. And I'm really supportive of the report and the direction, and yeah, and the accountability. I think if we go monthly, so that's the one thing I really support this. But as long as there's some lag time for the benefit of corrections to be made, we're all human. Mistakes can happen, and as long as there's an opportunity for expenses to be truly reported properly, I have no problems with allowing. I support the public being made aware on a monthly basis what councils are doing with their expense accounts. So, thank you.
Okay, next one's Mayor David West. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just really quickly. So I just want to make sure that I'm hearing this correctly, that financial services staff will bring forward some consideration of the issue that we're talking about with the corporate card issue. And if that's the case, then when will we get that at council, or will we get that when ultimately the promise to report back? I mean, either way, I'm fine, but just so long as we confirm that we're going to be at least, I don't know what the answer is, but looking at that, right?
Through the chair to Mayor West. So following today's discussion, staff will revise and incorporate the comments from this meeting into the revised policy, and that will come back in 2026.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much. Just one, I had my personal experience. So Costco does not support our Visa card at all. So anytime I organize my event, I have to pay by myself. Okay, that's just my experience. So I don't have further comments. All in favor? Okay, the motion passed unanimously. Okay, I think we don't have anything on the floor now. Now is the time for adjourn. Okay. Any more? Okay, Councillor Leopold. Okay, all in favor? Okay, pass. So